morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lord over here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering wisdom for living on your Friday morning. Rise and shine and give God the glory. And this morning here, we're looking at a topic: the upright give thought to his ways. The upright give thought to his ways, and this is what we're looking at here. We're taking this from Proverbs chapter 21, verse 29. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 29. So, welcome again to our live talk program. Top of the morning to you here. Hopefully, you had a blessed night rest and you're ready to take on today. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank thee again, dear Father, for your love, for the blessings, dear Lord, of your word, and for the counsel that you give to us. I pray, Lord, that we might live by this and may walk always humbly before thee. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. So we're looking here again this morning here for the topic: the upright gives thoughts to his ways. Give thought to his ways. And this is taken from Proverbs chapter 21 and verse 29. And I'm going to read also verse 30 as just kind of a background text. And so this is closing out on the chapter 21 before we move to chapter 22. So beautiful thought here. Let's read it here together, or let me read it here. Proverbs 21 verse 29 and 30 says, a wicked man hardeneth his face, but as for the upright, he directed his way. There is no wisdom nor understanding nor counsel against the Lord. There is no wisdom nor understanding nor counsel against the Lord. So these two texts, to me, they're probably not per se connected, but the statement above, a wicked man hardeneth his face, but as for the upright, he directed his way, would be a counsel from the Lord, as Solomon writes it. And then it says in verse 30, there is no wisdom nor understanding nor counsel against the Lord. So when a person is living a certain lifestyle and they're living a wicked lifestyle, and a statement like this come against them, they might think around the statement. They might try to argue around it and think there must be another way. But this is where the Bible shines beyond what any theologian, any wise man from various different other religious background fail and crash and burn on this rock. Because the counsel that's given there, you can't go against it. Somebody would say, well, Lord, but there's this concept here that the Bible is a man-made book. Well, it's a fascinating man-made book because there is no wisdom and counsel against what is written in it. So when a person goes against this or ignore it, they just crash and burn, because these statements are fascinatingly, marvelously, spiritually rock solid. And so as we explore this concept here this morning, I'm bolstering it with this statement: there is no wisdom. So somebody could say, well, how about those wise guru from wherever? If they're wise and their knowledge is endowed from the Most High, God blesses the just and the unjust, they're going to come to the same conclusion. That's just how I see. Life is just very specific with all its various different options and possibilities. There's things in life that are very specific. And so when you say there's no wisdom nor understanding, you can't come to another understanding. You could come to other understanding from the text, but more or less it's going to lead to the same human behavior. Nor counsel against the Lord. Whatever the Lord counsel, there's people who over the century and millennia has tried to figure out other ways, and it just doesn't work. So when you look at it now, we go back to the verse 29. A wicked man hardeneth his face. So the wicked person hardeneth his face. Now, when I read in a few minutes here the various other translation, it will render it with the word bold. The person bold, they embolden themselves. So when I'm taking both these concepts in line. So let me deal with it in the King James Version, which is I just read. A wicked man hardened net his face. So normally, not a person who hardened their face is a person who, whatever is said to them or whatever is in front of them, they're gonna go forward, even though it's impossible for them to succeed. They're just gonna push ahead, forge ahead. And you could come to them and say, brother, don't do this. Please don't. This is not the way to go. There's another way to approach this problem. They're gonna be like, no, you're afraid. I'm not afraid. And so they harden their face. They go against counsel, and they move forward. And they move forward, and you're looking at it and thinking, there's no way. And they crash and burn. And you say, wow. But it says, but as for the upright, he directed his way. So as for the upright, the person gonna make some direction. You know, you see a person planning a trip, and the person is like, let me write down, I'm gonna go left, go right. The wicked person like, nah, don't worry about that, just keep going. And they just have all kind of frustration, and next you know, they're shipwreck and problems. Because you in the ship, you can't tell if you're running afoul. But when you plan out your course and think it through, someone might think you're afraid. You think about that. That's normally what people think. If you think too much or you plan too much, you view it as afraid. But a person who don't do planning and they just harden their face and they just move forward, and they're gonna succeed in life in whatever aspect of life they're dealing with. We'll deal with some specifics in a little bit. They would convince themselves that it's gonna work. And you're thinking, you're not thinking. And if they were thinking, they would have really quickly realized, you better pull back a little bit here, because that problem is a little bit more difficult than you're approaching it. Your methodology is just you're bolding yourself up, you're hard in your face. And you see it especially the more youthful a person is, and this happened to even old people because of bad habit. I think in the young people, their issue is bliss and ignorance. The old person is bad habits that have been formed for years and years. So you can't advise them out of their direction because they're old and hardened in sin. The young person is young and foolish in sin, or don't know the result of sin until sin starts to whip them. So a wicked man hardeneth his face. He's just like, man, you can't talk to me. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to do such and such. Are you really? You're going to run into a hail of bullets? Yeah, because I'm bad and you're not bad. You know, and then that's it. And then they go run into a hail of bullets, and then you go into the funeral. You almost want to laugh. You're like, man, you pick up a whole bunch of lead. So this is the problem. A wicked man hardened his face, but for the upright, he directed his way. Now, here I'm going to read for you straight ahead. I'm going to go into I'm going to give you 3 different other translations. So that was the King James Version. The rest of it render is similar. What I like about the King James Version, it captures the person's face and how they behave. And you see that all the time. With somebody, they harden their face and they ain't listening. I'm like, go ahead, papi, take some beatings, because you'll be taking a lot of licks in your head. So New Living Translation renders it, the wicked bluff their way through, but the virtuous think before they act. So New Living Translation, I use that word there that is fascinating. You use bold face. The other 2 translations I'm going to read use bold face and bold front. They put up a front. I like that last one also. All this, I love it. That's why I selected these translations. Look at this now. The wicked bluff their way through, but the virtuous think before they act. Now, you think about that in the general scheme of things, especially as I think about myself when I was younger. I would think the person that's bluffing is the hard. That guy hard. That's some hot. Man, that boy is hard. Okay, that's how I would be thinking. Now the person who is thinking it through, I'm thinking, why are they thinking it through so much? They must be scared. You see how that goes? You normally see the person like, man, jump. And the person be like, wait, let me think about it. Okay, let me calm myself down. What am I doing? I'm jumping off of this thing. Yeah, just jump, man. Don't think about it. right? And so people broke their legs and killed themselves. So here the wicked man bluff. Now the word bluff, you're familiar with the word. The person said they bluff their way through. Is an attempt to deceive someone into believing that one can or will do something. So a bluff normally happens a lot of time before a fight. A bluff happens before a person do a business transaction. The person sound a certain way, or the person gonna make a decision, and they sound like, yeah, I can do that. I have the skills, I have the talent to do it, and they get away with it. And that's the thought in my mind when I read this text, is that's why one of the reasons why when people gamble too much, they normally have a messed up life. And so then you could think it's the gambling that messed their life up, but I think it's the mindset that come along with gambling. The mindset is that they bluff. You have to do a lot of bluff. You have to act as if your money is strong. That's where showing off come a lot. People are show off, or often they bluff, because they have to always put up a front that their money is strong. The money is heavy in the bank, heavy. They have to put it in a vault. It's so much. And so they learn to bluff, because you have to have, as they say, like a poker face, poker face, knowing that next bet you could lose everything. And when you say everything is only have $10,000 left, and you're gonna lose it all. So you gotta act as if, I'm good. So it's an attempt to deceive someone into believing that one can, even though you can't. You can't go up against that obstacle, and you know it. But you're gonna put up a bold face. You're gonna bluff your way through, or you will do something. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, man, I'll get it done. And you're thinking, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna have to probably go over here and so forth. And this happens a lot in contracts. The person basically, make person believe that they can do something that they can't. And then when they try it, it's killing them, because they don't have either the backup or the equipment or the manpower or the help that they can. And so it's killing them. And you're like, bro, you can't do that. Just back off. Or think it through and just say, what, Ben, I can do only 50% of the work, or 75%. The rest of it, I'll have to bluff my way. Another explanation for the word bluff is to try to deceive someone as to one's abilities, or intention. So you try to deceive someone into your abilities or intentions. And so it's a methodology of trying to trick a person. So if a person see you're confident, and so again, if you go to do a contract and you have a task to do, and you say to a person, you say you have two people in front of you, you say, look, this is a task, and I'm gonna tell you this is what it has to do, and you lay out, these are the 4 things that has to be done. And you said, you're looking for somebody to do it because you can't do it. So and you're saying, hey, this is very difficult. The person now, who the Bible here described as wicked, gonna put up a bold front. They're gonna harden their face. They're gonna be like, yeah, I can do it. The person who's righteous or upright would be like, let me think about this. So you want me to do this, that. I'm gonna have to think about this thing. If you're in a situation and you're hiring two, you have these 2 people, who are you gonna hire? You're gonna hire the person who put up a bold face, that's bluffing. You're not gonna hire the person who's thinking about it, because the person who's thinking about it seems uncertain. That's the whole idea. It's thinking about stuff often, or backing down and saying, I better really think about this. And it seems like it's just not confident. And sometimes it's really a lack of confidence. You don't have confidence that you can do this thing. But here's the thing in life that I've learned, and I've learned this many times in a very painful way. If I go to somebody and say I deal with these websites that I have, and I want the website to do a certain thing, or I'm dealing with something for the church building, or I'm dealing with something, and it's a task that I'm like, this task is difficult. I think I run into something that is above my head. So I go to somebody and say, hey, could you do this, that for me? And the person say yes. I'll be like, man, that's a mess. They say yes too fast. They didn't hear what I just said. They're just putting up a bold front. And I have this all the time. If I go into the store, I go into Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, and I'm asking for a certain product. And I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for this thing here. And the person says, yeah, go over here in aisle such and such. Sometimes they're right. If it's just a generic thing, I just want to know the aisle it is. But if I'm going there and I'm saying to you, look, I'm going to describe something to you, and just listen to my description here. I want to know if this product is even exists or is in the store. And the person says, yeah, it's over here. And I go, okay, no, it's not. Then I go to another person. This happened to me recently. I go into another person. I say, look, I'm going to ask you this product here. And then I went to literally 3 persons. And still, they keep sending me all over the place. And then I'm like, man, it's not going to work. What am I going to do? So I got something, literally one of the products. And I say, I'm looking for a product like this, but it does this. And the person said, oh, that's what you're looking for? Oh, I'm sorry. This is where it is. I'm going to show you. That product is not in the store, but this product you can use like it. You can configure it a certain way to get what you want. And I say, thanks. And that was me after me going to Lowe's, and then I go to Home Depot, and then that person helped me out. But sometimes people don't listen too much, or they're too quick to want to seem confident. And sometimes you're confident in the project, but sometimes you're not. And when you're not, it's okay to say, I'm going to think about it. And I've learned over the years, sometimes I go with a person who is thinking about it because they're giving it more thought. And I think they're probably going to be more able to do it because they're thinking it through and they're not running in because fools rush in. And that's just the problem. So here, the wicked bluff their way through. They put up a bold front. They put up this idea that I can do it. And you can see they're not thinking. Notice here in the English Standard Version, English Standard Version renders it, a wicked man puts on a bold face, but the upright give thought to his way. This is my topic. Put my topic from this point here. I like that. The upright give thought to his way. So the upright, let me think about it. Let me mull this over. So what am I going to do? Are you going to do such and such? Okay. A wicked man put on a bold face. I always say, especially when I'm in Bible studies and stuff like that, the person often that answers the question fastest often get it wrong. Because often when I'm asking a question that is not straightforward. And the question comes with a curve. The person not hearing the curve, they just hear, they assume the question. They didn't hear the question. And if I'm asking a question, that means I'm asking a question that can't be assumed. You can't say, I have heard that question before. Else probably I wouldn't ask the question. So a wicked man put on a bold face. This, and over the years I've learned that this attitude that people quick to answer question, they take that throughout their whole life. And they make big blunders because every time a scenario is set up for them, they're quick to answer the scenario or make a move. They don't pull back and think and say, wait a minute. I've seen the situation before, but I don't know if I've ever seen it like this. So I better think about it. But a person who's they like to rush in, as I say, fool rushing, they normally make massive blunders because they don't think it through. Because again, the devil is a wily foe. He ain't going to give you the same setup all the time. It's going to be the same challenge, but he's going to set you up in a different way. Whatever your weakness is, that weakness is, he's not going to challenge you the same way with the same weakness. He's going to give you a new one. But it's going to be the same weakness, but it's just the set is different. And so you have to think and say, okay, what's going on here? I know there's a trick to trip me up. What is the trick? And that's it. I see people all the time fall into false doctrines. They believe a new false concept. And I'm like, let me ask you, I'll just say to them, let me ask you this. How did you pick up this thing? And they say, well, the first time I heard it, I realized it was truth. And I'm like, man, there goes your problem. You heard it the first time. I didn't think about it. You didn't go home and pray about it. So the wicked man put on a bold face. So you look at him, you're like, man, I'm ready for this. I'm like, no, all you're ready for is a whipping. And notice here now this translation called God's Word renders it, a wicked person put up a bold front, but a decent person, a decent person's way of life is his own security. I love this. This is, I don't say this is per se a translation. This sounds more like a commentary. This is the commentary of life in this scenario. A wicked person put up a bold front. So normally in situations where things going to be crushing, you can put up a bold front, but you're going to get crushed. So they'll go into situation or in situation where I'm not going to be in there. Now here's where this is beautiful. But a decent person's way of life is his own security, right? So a bold person or a wicked person will say, I'm hard, I can go to prison. And a decent person say, I ain't going there. I'll be afraid. I'll live a life that I'm scared. I ain't going in. A decent person will live in a certain neighborhood that is not hard, and they live in a decent neighborhood, and so they don't have to deal with certain challenges. But notice here, that is his own security. So, but a decent person's way of life is his own security. You think about many of the most unsecure areas is normally where people are not living decent lives. You know, think about you again. Your chances of being shot, from a day-to-day, die from a bullet wound, goes up depending on the town or the area in the country or any country you live. That's just what it is. Now, any of us can get shot by a stray bullet, but the likelihood of being shot by a stray bullet in some area becomes just astronomical. You know, I was reading, I think it was last week Monday, I think I was reading, and it was talking about in Chicago the amount of people were shot, but they were listing some of the people who were shot just laying in their beds, walking on the street, being hit by stray bullets. Because why? There's so many gunshots going off that the bullets, if it miss the target, is keep traveling, and your kidney or liver might be the receptacle or your brain. So you look at that now. Somebody could say, yeah, but you could be going walking in a park somewhere, in a bush somewhere, and get shot. Yeah, because somebody hunting a deer didn't hit the deer, hit you. But that chance is so reduced that it could happen. But your chances, so just your way of life. You just think about, there's people who live so blissful, and they're going through life. They're bold, but they're drinking all kind of alcohol, taking all kind of drugs. And you'd be like, man, you're bold because you don't know what's in that stuff. And you just taking it and melting it and injecting it into your veins, snotting up your nose. That's you're braver than me. You see, there's a lot of things that people end up getting whipped in life because they're so brave. You know, a person say, oh man, their way of life is they sleep with all. You know, this young man say, well, sleep with all these hoes. And I'm like, you sleep with all those people? Yeah, and you're not afraid? Man, you give God the glory and start being afraid. You don't fear God? You don't fear for all those STDs? Nope. Man, you're bolder than me. I notice that way of life becomes a person protection. There's people who they're too bold. You know, their bullets are flying, and instead of they're not the police, but instead they're running from the way the bullets are flying, they're running to go see what's happening and then pick up a bullet themselves. You know, normally they're bold. They put up a bold face, and so that's what it is. You know, as I say, the harder the guy is, I always know they will go into situations that you and I, because we're not bold or we think things through or we have thought it through, but like, you know, I know the avoid problem. And I notice over the years, the more I live the Christian life, the more I learn, the more I practice, not the more I theorize, but practice, is the more I find myself out of harm's way. So I'm going to read it again. A wicked person put up a bold front, but a decent person way of life is his own security. Is his own security. The way you eat, the way you talk, it's just the way of life. If you're a person who's patient and a person who's mannerly, and a person who don't fly off the handle and don't be always saying negative things to people, you find that your way of life is very peaceful. You don't bring no problems and you don't get no problems. Now, it doesn't mean that says it's 100% that you'll never get problems, but you find your problems, when they come, it's not come because your input. It come because just people are wicked. The wicked person put up a bold front. But your decent way of life end up becoming your security. Your manner of living end up becoming your security. But the person normally who is wicked, they're normally very bold. And so they will go into situations and do things that I wouldn't do. I remember, the more I understand the Bible, the more I realize I couldn't date certain female, so I wouldn't get into the problems. Now, it doesn't mean that says life is 100% proof and you can't get into problems. But it just means that if you want to reduce your problem, you're not becoming bold, that you think through things a little bit more, and you're going to find that the people you surround yourself with, more and more, they're going to be decent people. And you're going to find that, you don't have to bold yourself up. But there's people, I don't know how they run with certain people. I'll be afraid. I don't know how they go into certain neighborhoods, how they go into certain things. I'll be afraid. And as I say, it's not that I won't go into those neighborhoods, and so forth, but only for the gospel's sake. I don't go certain places unless it has something to do with the Bible. It has to be that before I left, God knew I was only going there to bless somebody. Other than that, I'm not going. And somebody said, but you're afraid. I'm not afraid either, but I can't be bothered. I'm not want to go places where I have to fight people. Why be bothered? And as a matter of fact, I haven't been building up myself like that physically to be fighting people, punching and kicking people. So life is better that way. So the upright gives thoughts to his ways. And this is what we need to live. And so there's no counsel against this. As I say, the upright way of a man, wow, it really blesses you. Think about, you get up every day and you're trying to eat the most organic type of food you can find, or the most natural foods you can find. You don't have to boil yourself and eat cockroach. And somebody said, man, you're so bold. That thing sick my stomach. They're wicked. They can keep being bold. I'm thinking about it through and say, I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to eat certain type of meats and worry about it. You see, that's what I'm talking about. So now your stomach viruses, all your sickness become your safety. It's the way of life. You take each aspect of life. If you're not one of those persons that want to just run debt until you file bankruptcy and stuff like that, and you prefer to be safe, you're better. If you don't want to invest your money with these high stake investments where you could win it all or lose it all, your way of life is become your safety because you've thought it through. The wicked person be like, man, I'm gonna put $1 million on that high stake Wall Street investment. And they could make $1 million and everybody say, man, you're so lucky. And they could lose $1 million or two, end up even probably get some of the assets frozen or seized. And somebody say, wow, man, but he was bold when he did it. Because wicked. Because that's just the thinking. Because often the person not thinking. Because somebody say, why would that be wicked? Because they're not thinking. In order for you to make that money, most of that money is going to war. That's where most of the money is made. Quick money. You invest $1 million in a war, the war worked out for your side, you got probably 5-10 million. So yeah, you make massive money, but it's just a wicked way of making money. So you don't want to go down that road. So the upright give thought to his ways. And when we think about this and we think through this, God blesses us so much, and we are a blessing to others. Now, Luke chapter 14, verse 27 through 35, primarily looking at verse 28 through 34, but I read 27 and 35 for context. As we look at the upright give thoughts to his ways, it says, whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciples. So here Christ is saying, in order for you to follow him, one has to, as he says here, bear your cross. So the cross most actually is something that is you have to carry it. And as I say in life, don't feel if you're picking up the cross of Jesus Christ that you're being disadvantaged, because everybody bear crosses. It's just you bear the cross of Christ, which is the weight is lighter because he's helping you with it. Or you can be a worldly person and you have crosses in your life, just all kind of problems. So one have to think this through also. The Christian life is something that you have to, is for a thinking person. When you live a secular way, you can have the absence of thought and you could just only have bliss. So they say. So verse 28 says, "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it?" So this is logical. You're going to build a tower. You're going to build a house. You're going to build anything. You say, do I have enough money to finish this thing? So the wicked person like, I'm going to build it. And 1 out of 100 might build the tower. And then after they build a tower, then they have to go ahead and sell the tower. Because they broke. Because they didn't think about anything how to maintain the tower. And right now, if you're going to look at your news, you're going to see something about a tower in New York that's being sold called 666. And it was bought and purchased by Jared Kushner. So this type of thing goes on all the time. If you don't think things through, it's sometimes an opportunity, but you have to think about it. Is this so? So you count the cost and see if you can finish it. Verse 29, "Less happily after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish." So this is where the principle runs through and through. The wicked man bold himself up, have a bold front, he put on a bold face, he bluff, but happily he's not going to be able to continue the process. You're not going to see the process through to the end. And verse 31 says, "Or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulted whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. So straightforward again, before we read the next part. He had to sit there and he had to say, 20, 10. Now I always say it's possible. It's possible that somebody's coming at you with 20 and you have 10,000 and you can take out their 20,000. But you're going to have to count the cost. You're going to be like, what is it going to cost me? How am I going to fight? Now you can go in there bold and you can get a whipping. So you still have to count the cost. Bravery does not substitute for thinking. Being confident does not substitute for thinking. And that's where many people get into this problem. They'll see somebody and say, I'm going to marry to that person. And they get married to the person, all right. But bravery not going to help. Again, as they say, you see that person, they're divorced. And they're probably divorced twice now. And you say, the two guys before couldn't handle this, but I can handle this. Watch me, as they say, hold my beer or hold my smoothie and watch me do this. The other two guys, they're weaklings. You see, a righteous person would say, probably what I need to do is connect with one of those older husbands and let them tell me what I'm up against. And then I count the cost. And if I count the cost and they tell me, hey, this is what you're going to deal with. You're going to deal with this. You're going to deal with that. This is what you're up against. This is massive. And you say, okay, I think I've counted the cost. I think I can handle it. Then you go ahead and handle your business. but if you can't handle the business, then you got to count the cost. You're going to see if you have sufficient chain and rope and all kind of stuff and weight to hold on this thing, because this thing is massive. This thing is not going to be able to manage this. But you have to. So if you look at it, you say, I need the embassage. Verse 32, or else while the others is yet a great way off, he sendeth an embassage and desired conditions of peace. So somebody say, man, you afraid? You can imagine the king, oh, well, guys, we could have to fight. Well, what do you need? I'm sure you need some of my trees over here, right? You probably could take some of my servants. Let's just work something out. How much money you need me to pay you every month? Because, why hurt each other like that? You save some people on your side, I save some people on my side, and I send you some gifts. And you work something out. Since the thought came back to my mind, it's the same thing. So if the same person now say, there's two husbands before, and I think I can't manage this. But you see, what happened, Lloyd? Can you help me out? I said, what? I said, what you want to do? I said, I want you to do marriage counsel, and I want you to try to help me work out a peace agreement with this lady because I want to marry her, but I don't know if I can handle this business. So I need some help. And I'm like, so you want me to do what? Yeah, I want you to help me control the situation. I said, okay, then I'll help you. I'll be the ambassador. I'll work on some peace agreement so you can get in there and you can take care of the business. But that's basically what happened here. And so the person has to, so the righteous, not the righteous can't do certain things. The righteous might think, I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need some arrangement right here to make this thing work because I don't think I can fight this battle on my own. And it's the same thing to me with following Christ. You're just, see, the Christian to me is just a person who recognizes that this life comes with a lot of burdens. Sin comes with a lot of complication. I need some help. That's all a Christian is. It's just a Christian is just saying, man, the devil is too much for me and I'm helping the devil. So I need Jesus in my life. The person who is wicked or secular, they say, I'm good. I don't need no help. I'm all right. And so they fight in their battles every day by themselves. And them and the devil. And many times they're actually they're helping the devil more than the devil are helping themselves to mess up their life. And so they're not trying to work out no peace. For us, we're just like, look, I'll follow Jesus. I need some help. I need somebody I can pray to. I need to see God's hand in my life, even though I don't see God, but I can see his hand working. I need to humble myself. I need to learn his ways through the word of God. And that's just the same thing. So I see people all the time. I'm like, you having problems in your life? You having marital problems? You having all kind of problems? The kids are giving you a hard time. Why don't you turn up at Sabbath school and help us help you with the kids? Why don't you come and hear a sermon? When you have some brethren that have fought a battle and they've won some battle and they can be around you to help you in your situation. Because you're trying to tame the untamable. So, but when you're wicked and proud, you're good. So you're going to stay good and keep getting hits in your head. Your head can take more lumps. Verse 33 says, so likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he had, he cannot be my disciples. So this is straight. You can't be a disciple of Christ if you can't forsake all. So Christ is saying you have to count the cost. So Christ is not just saying, hey, come and follow me. Somebody said, but isn't the salvation free? Isn't gospel free? There's a lot of biblical interpretation and there's a lot of theological understanding. But at the end of the day, you have to follow what Christ says. You have to follow what, people could say, oh yeah, but my theologian say this and my pastor say this. Sure. But your pastor didn't die for you. Christ died for you. Christ says if you need to be his disciples, a disciple of his, you need to count the cost and you need to know that you have to put all in it. You have to put all in the line. And so there's something that has to be prearranged or worked out. There's something that has to be sacrificed. There's something that has to be given up to be a disciple of Christ because Christ has some rules. And with anything in life, there's some rules that you're going to have to deal with. And so the upright now think it through. And so what are you asking me? You're asking me that I have to be willing to put anything I have on the line for Jesus? Yes. Okay, let me think about it. A foolish person now will like, I'm ready to jump in the pool. And I'm like, you didn't think about it. Oh, no, I'm ready. I'm committed. I'm ready. Ready, let's go. And then they make a mess because they didn't think about it. Now the other person come and say, okay, I'm ready. That person who seemed like you would think the person who was ready to go, would be the person that is going to be a rock solid Christian. But the person that thought it through and prayed about it and think a little bit more and then said, no, I'm ready. That person is more able to make success of the Christian walk because they thought it through. They really understood it, sank in their head. So what do you mean I have to lay everything on the line? You have to lay every wickedness on the line. Every sinful pleasure, every whatever. You have to be willing at least. Okay, you might not be able to lay everything on the line up front. Okay, you might not know all the different practices you have that has to go. But you've just thought through the concept. I have to lay everything on the line for Jesus. Wow. Okay, I'll do it. And now you have somebody that's more serious because now they'll do it. They're ready for it. So when they go in that pool, it's really they got that immersion before they went into the pool. Like next two verses, salt is good, but if the salt has lost its savior, wherewithal shall it be seasoned? You're familiar with this idea. We're supposed to be the preservative in the world. We're supposed to preserve the world from its rottenness and decay. But if we're not helping the world and we are part of the rottenness of the world, we're making the world go bad and spoil, then we're useless. But also, since Christ was talking about here, this idea of that you need to make, right? You need to make, think it through if you can take on this task. It's important to say the same thing. If you're salt and somebody said to you, hey, Lloyd, I want you to go and salten, since I said it earlier, southern Chicago with all the gang violence. And I say to myself, well, you're asking me to go in that old area and preserve them so that they stop dying. Yeah. Okay, I'm salt, but I don't know if I'm that salty or I'm that much salt. One have to be honest with oneself and say, what I'm preaching and what I do and how I influence a method of work, I don't know if I can salt a pot that big. Because my salt is probably only good for 2 packs of pasta. You're asking me to salt 1,000 packs of pasta. I can't salt that much pasta. I can only do 2 packs at a time. So, I might decline. You see, one has to be honest with what one doing. I guess a more rock solid understanding of this. So, you make sure you understand what I don't just talking off my head. Say again, which I've seen, you have one child, and the child is 7, and the child is a little monster, as I said, like a Chucky monster, and this child is wreaking havoc in your house and is causing you to get gray hairs, and the child is just wild and out of control. And then I'm talking to you, you say, I'm ready for 2 more. And I'm like, you're ready for 2 more kids? And yeah. I'm like, you can't even salt that one that you have. How are you going to salt 3? It's going to be 3 monsters that next you know I come to your house or I see police in front of your house and I find out the police came because the kids were there, tie you up and beating you. It's you have to understand what you're able to handle. And that's simply the idea. The upright give thought to his way. So somebody say, but the upright then is fearful. No, it's not fearful. You have to just be honest with oneself. Honesty doesn't mean defeat. Honesty just simply means that I'm assessing the situation and I'm coming to a proper conclusion as to what I can do. And if I know, so I come to the person and say, hey, look, the child is whipping you. Probably you need some help. And you just look at it and say, you know what, Ben? You're probably right. Let's work this out. Let's think it through. A person is bold saying, no, I'm going to handle this child. And the next you know, how many years pass and the person, I said, what's going on with the child? You run into them. They say, what's going on with the child? Oh, they're in prison now. I thought you didn't take help because you could handle the child. You're being foolish. Take the help. So the upright think it through. And he think through his thoughts affect his ways. The wicked just rushing, bold as ever, have a bold front. Yeah, I can do this. Oh man, you're losing. Stop it. It is neither fit for land, that is the salt again, nor yet for the dunghill, but men cast it out. He that hath ear, let him hear. He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear. Now, in Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14, this thought comes to my mind. Long-term decision cannot be made by just acting brave or being brave. So whatever long-term decision you have in your life, that's going to affect you for years to come. You can't just act brave. As I say, we make 2 big long-term decisions and multiple others. Our careers is not one that I was thinking about, but another one is our career, who we're married to, our religious affiliation, so to speak, accepting Jesus. And there's some other things that we do that are long term that is going to affect and change the whole course of our lives. And so those long term decisions, multiple that we make, but the big ones I just say, want us to think that through. What am I doing for the rest of my life, career wise? What am I doing for the rest of my life when it comes on to a spouse? Am I going to follow Jesus? Am I going to be a Christian, or am I going to be dilly-dallying and playing games and acting like I'm a Christian? Those are decisions one make. So when you're making a decision like that, being bold, put up in a bold front, not going to work, because that's a front. Acting bold, that's not going to work. Making irrational, bold decisions, that's not going to work. People who rob banks are bold. I don't know how they calm their nerves, but they do it because it's a short-term decision, but it could have long-term consequence. You see, to me, the long-term decision, if you're going to rob a bank, is you have to make up your mind you're going to prison for the rest of your life. See, that's how you make that decision. You don't say, I'm going to rob a bank. No, say, I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life. I made up my mind, I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life. And then if you move forward, then it's a long-term decision. So if you get caught, you'll be like, whatever. Or I'm going to go in there, and if I get shot and killed, I'll make up my mind I'm going to die today. You see, that's more rational thinking. I don't agree with the thinking, but it's more rational. But a person just making decisions that could affect the rest of their life and change the course of their life, a boldness not going to work. Is thinking going to work? You have to think it through. This next step I'm going to make is going to change my life. And 20 years from now, 30 years from now, this is what I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to be doing. See, you need to think that through. If you say, I'm going to follow Jesus for the rest of my life, for eternity, you need to think that through and make up your mind. People say, I want to go to heaven, but they don't want to follow Christ for the rest of their life. They want to live secular and still die and go to heaven. And God's mercy, I guess, will save some like that. But most will get lost because that's their way of thinking. But if you say, today, you're going to be a serious Christian, today, many people are baptized and they'll never be a serious Christian because they never thought it through. They just made a brave decision. Bold decision. They just bold themselves up and brave themselves up, and bam, I make the decision. And a year later, they're like, well, I'm not so, I don't know what I got myself into. You see, it's like you're wicked. So, long-term decision cannot be made by just acting brave or being brave. One has to think it through. Many people are dead or in prison because they were brave to carry out an act, but did not think things through. They didn't think it through. Somebody say something to me, I'm just going to go ahead and just start stabbing them. I'd be like, man, you're brave. But they didn't think, that decision I'm making, I'm going to do 10 years in prison. Ouch. That was a fast decision for 10 years. Within a few seconds or minutes, you just gave yourself 10 years behind bar, living in a cage. That's not thinking through. Notice here, Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13 and 14 says, Enter ye in at the straight gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So, many there be, because it takes nothing to be a secular person. Just think about it. Just to live your life and eat what everybody eat, talk where everybody talk, dress the way everybody dress, it takes no effort. Because you're just flowing with the stream of life. You're in the mainstream. You're not radical. You're not different. It's easy to go and be a jerk in life. Just think about it. It's just easy. It doesn't take any kind of self-control. It's easy to be a pig because it takes no self-control. It's easy to do what the general trend in your society around you, to talk and think like them. But, and just to be general wicked. But to go in there at the narrow way or the straight gate, it's going to take some thought. You got to think it through. You think about even food. There's slow food and fast food. Which is easier, which is broader? It's the fast food. Because when you have to cook things from scratch, eat healthier food, eat organic food is grown slow. It takes more time. You have to pay more money. Foods that are fast, because they're pumped with chemicals. It takes nothing. So it's broad, but the end result is the general end result. You end up with the general trends in society. Whatever everybody is suffering, you suffer it. So if I say to you, what's the trend in society right now? Depression. Well, you're gonna be part of that trend. Suicide, you're gonna be part of that trend. All kind of STDs, you're gonna be part of that trend. All kind of violence, you're gonna be part of that trend. You're just part of the decay in society. But when you're upright and you give thought to your ways and you enter at the straight gate, you're not living a blissful, ignorant life. You're living a life where you think it through. So everything now becomes slower. You slow the process down. I've learned everything in my life. I'm trying to learn and trying to exercise the self-control to slow it down. Think it through. But a person's not thinking it through, thinking, oh, I'm going to do it the easy way. Oh, I'm not going to sacrifice anything. I'm not going to lose anything. And they never gain anything. Verse 14 says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Can't even find it. Most people, they're looking for truth. They'll never find it because it's a narrow truth. Truth is not broad. Truth is not hip. Truth is not getting with whatever is the latest trend and fad. Whether it be in mainline life or in religious life or spiritual life. It's not truth because everybody's doing it, because then it wouldn't be truth. That's just the reality. Truth is never fanciful. Truth is 8 people on an ark. That's truth. Truth is 120 people in the upper room. That's truth. Truth is not the rebel masses saying crucify him, crucify him. That's not truth. That's fool's idea. It doesn't matter what time period we're living in. Truth is not what the majority think and say. It never was truth. If it was truth, then it wouldn't be truth. Because truth is just the narrow way. At least here on earth, where we are as sinners down here live. So when you approach life and you're thinking through life, the average person out there would think, man, it's too complicated. That's a statement of a fool. You're not going to tell him you're a fool because you have thought through life. I know you can't say that out front because you'll probably get a hit. But the average person out there, they're not thinking. Because their aim is to try to entertain themselves and to smoke their way into not thinking. They try to damage their brain so their brain don't think anymore. And less thought, less pain. But so goes in life, you know. I always think about water. And I think about, as they say, when they test the water, they find so many dissolved drugs in the water. Hormones, all kind of things that people take. And then they urinate it and defecate it and it gets into the water system and it's there. But you look at water, it looks clean to me. So truth is not the broad way. Truth is narrow. You test it and you're like, oh, truth is probably I need to get a filter. I need to think this thing through a little bit because the waters are contaminated. But somebody be like, what are you talking about? Let's turn the shower on. Let's bathe. And let's get this nice warm pharmaceutical water pouring on me. Oh, feels good. This is just a nice shower. All this chlorine and everything. And they wonder why I'm coming down with some weird disease that the doctor can't diagnose. But that's the difference between the narrow way and the broad way. The broad way is just anything goes. You see somebody that look hot, and you be like, I need to get with that person. And truth is, that's a bag of diseases. Stay away from that person. But I can't see the disease. I often even look at my own physical body. I'm thinking, man, that's why we have to pray and believe in God. Because you could have something growing inside of you that you don't even see it. It's just not there. And so you look at somebody and say, look at all that makeup on that person and that half-naked body. I need to get with that body. But truth is narrow. Truth is like, no, you don't get with that. That's actually a broad way. Everything is running through that person. You don't want to be one of the masses that running through that person. You need to go and find your wife. And that's truth. But somebody said that's narrow. I have to be with one person for the rest of my life. But that's why the upright think about what they do and they do it. And they're willing to sacrifice and suffer and go through the hardship and the difficulty of living narrow. Somebody said, but is that a bad thing? No, that's a bad thing. That's the beauty of love. So that's life. And you make that choice, and then you don't have to be there screaming and hollering because you're picking up all kind of diseases. It is just life. Or you don't have to be there with your head glitching out. Your brain can't work because your brain is like being mush. And you don't know what to do because you don't know how to think and face difficult decisions by thinking. Again, in Mark chapter 4, verse 5, and then verse 16 through 20. Mark 4, verse 5, then 16 through 20. So things always go wrong. So make moves with the foreknowledge that things are going to go wrong and go against you. See, a foolish person just rush forward. A person who thinks it through thinking, I don't think this is as simple as it seems. So you know what happened? I better put on some armor. And then I go in. But a foolish person be like, yeah, I'm gonna bowl myself. I'm gonna bowl myself and go through. Sorry to laugh, but I remember there was this thing where they said the president say he would have run in there, I guess with bare hands or just run in there when shooting's going on. And then I remember calling somebody who was an ex-police, and I said, let me ask you this. So somebody with a semi-automatic weapon, an assault type weapon, banging away the gun. Can you rush up to them? He said, no. They said the only hope you have is to sneak up from behind and try to shoot the person in the head from the behind. But you can't go in front of that person. They're releasing how many bullets per second? That'll take you out. Even with armor, they'll pierce that armor. So, it's this idea that, you think things through. But the upright now will think it through. A person will be like, oh no, I'll just go in there and martial arts chop them. and get mowed down and then become one of the body count. Now, if you're backed up in a corner, making a dash effort and making the adrenaline go wild and get something done, that's all you have anyhow. That's your only chance of survival. So you do what you have to do. But if you have time to think, please think on anything, everything. Notice in Mark 4 verse 5, as we wrap this up, it says, and some fell among stony ground, where it had not much earth, and immediately sprung up, and because it had no depth of earth. So when you have a situation, when you in the world, and I know I've experienced this myself personally, I will look at my head as a pavement head. Ain't no gospel and no truth and nothing sensible is going to grow in my head. Because, it's just music and entertainment and mindlessness. Everything is mindless. You don't think things through. So you just set up to be whipped and beaten and horse-prodded and kicked, and that's all, because you don't know no better. Ignorance is not bliss. Notice here verse 16, now we jump down. And these are they likewise which are sown in stony ground, who, when they had heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and had no root in themselves, and so endured but for a time. Afterward, when the affliction or persecution arise for the word's sake, immediately they were offended. So when you have the value of the word and you think it through, when trouble comes, you're like, I know this trouble is going to come. I know this is going to be difficult, so I'm prepared for it. I don't know how it's going to be difficult, but I know it's going to be difficult. A person will, oh no, it's going to be all be great. Really? Oh, I'm going to go over here and things are going to work out a certain way. Really? It's not. You're going to have difficulties. And it says, and the cares of this world and deceitfulness of riches and the lust of other things enter in and choke the word, and it become unfruitful. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as heard the word and receive it and bring forth fruit, some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100-fold. I remember years back I had this discussion with a doctor. I'm out of time. And I remember he was talking about this thing about being faithful and being brave, and you stick in the church. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not brave. I'm not going to sit in there and get whipped and beaten and go up against a $2 billion juggernaut who is in rebellion. I can't resist that. And I'm so glad that I didn't go the brave way. There's so many things in life I look back. I didn't get to go into some of the personal experience, and I guess I shouldn't have. I should have leave the principle as the principle, but there's so much things in my head that I see people over the years, they take the brave route and they didn't consider well, and they get whipped, and now many of them, they're out of the faith, they're out of the church, and I'm like, man, I saw that coming and I'd sidestep it because I say you got to be wise in this life. And you got to think it through, because if you don't, you will suffer so massively. And thinking, oh, I was going to win because I'm brave. Bravery is not losing your mind or not using your mind. Let's pray. We thank you, God, for your love. We thank you for the wisdom. We thank you for the thought that you give us, and that you have given us a brain that we should use it and not think that bravery or confidence is the only thing that's needed. Bless us. May you be with us for the rest of this day, for Christ's sake. Amen. Well, thanks again for being with me on Revive Reform Radio. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow morning. No, sorry. Well, if you're at church in New York. But looking forward to talking to you Monday morning live again on Revive Reform Radio. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.